everybody, and welcome to another Agile IT Tech Talk. I'm your host, Sean Spicer, and today we're going to be looking at the Microsoft 365 attack simulators. So Microsoft 365, with the proper licensing, has a series of attack simulators that allow you to test your users against phishing attacks and also password strength against password spray and brute force attacks. Now, it's a fairly limited set, but because it resides in Microsoft 365, it's super useful because if you're using a third-party attack simulator, then you're going to have to open up your defenses in order to phish your users because you're probably already going to be filtering things out. Now, I was thinking that I was going to go through and make a whole bunch of PowerPoint slides that talk about all the statistics we've heard before, that over 90% of attacks would be eliminated if people just used MFA and conditional access, that phishing is the number one attack surface. User exploits are the number one way into a company. And I'd love to do a tech talk on social engineering. If you're willing to sacrifice your company to see how easy it is to get on the phone and get enough information to get an account, let me know. But that was where I spent a lot of my time when I was working in computer security prior to the military, where I spent a lot of my focus. So I really like these simulators. They're really simple to set up, and they are already in your Microsoft 365 tenant. So they're definitely worth giving a shot, checking them out, and seeing if this would be something valuable to identify what your actual vulnerability is with your users. If you have not set up MFA, at least MFA, preferably MFA and conditional access for your environment, stop watching this. Go watch my tech talk on that. Do it. Really do it. Phishing is the easiest way to steal credentials and get into an environment. And from there, that's where the real exploits are able to be used. And that's where you start to see ransomware. That's where you start to see man-in-the-middle attacks on invoices. I have seen a number of our clients when onboarding discovering that they had somebody, a bad actor, in their system. In one case, I got an email from a client, somebody who I'd never talked to in their company, sent me an email because they'd gotten an email from me about Tech Talks. And, hey, Sean, you need to pay this invoice. Wait, this is an actual customer. What's going on? Called up the CEO. I said, hey, man, this is going on. And by the end of the day, we set up MFA conditional access and started to remediate the entire environment, and we were able to get them out of there. So, 1, MFA and conditional access. 2, even if you have these set up, and you have to have MFA set up to run these attack simulators, do it. Make sure. I love a quote from our CEO, Conrad. He said that the bad attacks happen from good people trying to do good things. So right now we're going to jump right into it. And I've got my demo tenant set up. I was going to call this Tech Talk Pick on Megan Bowen, because we are going to attack her today. We're going to attack a couple of users, but we're really going to look at the user experience from Megan. In our past Tech Talks and a lot of the demos, Megan is that user that we really go after. So in order to get to the attack simulators, we're going to go here to the admin section. We're going to show all, go down to security admin. And we have this threat management drop down here and attack simulator. Now, it flashed really briefly, and I doubt you saw it and it came up in recording. When you first go here, if you do not have MFA configured in Azure Active Directory properly, it's going to tell you that you have to have MFA enabled in order to do this. So that's a pretty straightforward process. I did it a couple of times, did it once on our MFA presentation, did it again for the Perfect Secure Score series. For this demo tenant, it took me about 5 minutes this morning to get that all set up. And that reminds me, I'm probably going to need my cell phone, which I keep on airplane mode here. But so there are 2 spear phishing attacks here. One is Credentials Harvest, which has a landing page that asks for username and password. And then there is the spear phishing attachment that will tell you if somebody's able to, or not able to, but if somebody is insecure enough to open a sketchy attachment. So first off, we're going to do the credential harvest one here. So we're going to call this credential harvest. I like to date everything. So there we go. We're going to hit next. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add from the address book. Let's go ahead and add Megan as a victim. And we'll go ahead and we'll add Adele Vance as well. Since we've talked about her in the last two tech talks, we go ahead and hit next. From name. Now, there are a number of different phishing attacks, and a lot of them are, hey, check your password. Hey, we're updating security. But the ones that seem to be the most effective are the ones that rely on immediate panic. And I'm going to show how to craft a really simple one that we could. Actually, I want to go back real quick. Let's go ahead and phish the entire company because you can use groups. And so we're going to use the group all employees. We're going to hit next. And now we're going to create a really stressful and really obvious phishing attack. From name CEO, from CEO, and we're at Contoso. But let's go ahead and make it obvious. Well, not obvious, but some evidence in here. And we're going to call it Contoso. Whoops. Now we've got the phishing login server URL, and these are provided by Microsoft. And let's do docstoreinternal.com. Now we can also add a custom landing page. Let's do Agile Security, Agile IT. Oops. This is an old security landing page of mine. So what this custom landing page is for is after your users successfully get phished, it takes them to a website where you get to tell them something. Really, that's just going to build anxiety. Let them get phished and then go talk to them. This needs to be a conversation if somebody's going to fall for this. And subject, what the hell is this? Next. So email body, we're going to just go ahead and we're going to insert username. Then we're going to go ahead and insert the phishing URL. Now, this is not going to look like most of the emails that are going around in a system because it's not going to have the signature. And a phisher wouldn't usually, well, will occasionally have the signature, particularly if they're coming out of a supply chain attack where they're in another user's account and they can see emails that have been sent in the past. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're just going to say sent from Outlook mobile. And that will explain, hey, maybe he doesn't have a signature set up on his phone. We're going to go ahead and hit next. This campaign will collect and process events for 30 days. We're going to go ahead and finish. And we have just phished the entire company. Now you can see that we have the results from test 2 down here, and that was attack completed. In a few minutes, this is going to update and show us the current attack that we're doing. So let's go ahead and let's become Megan, who I have here in a Edge incognito browser. And we're going to go to mail. And oh my God, I got this email from the CEO. Good God, that's a terrible link. Oh, wants me to sign in. So give me a minute here. I have Megan's credentials open in another window. So we're going to go ahead. Sometimes in these demo tenants, the names are incredibly long. So here we go. And I have changed her password. Nope, page not found, 404. I didn't put the HTTPS in front of that URL. It's okay. She's just going to think it's broken. Might actually phish herself multiple times. So now what we'll do is we'll go back to the attack simulator and we're going to view a report. We should have attack completed, view report, total users targeted 19, successful attempts 1, compromised user Megan, credential supplied, gives us our Julian date there, the URL or the IP that she was from, what time she clicked, and it was successful. So actually got that. Now in a larger organization, this will give you the percentage of people who were successfully phished by this attack, but let's just call that one done. I could log in from a couple of different users and show you the percentages change, but hey, we've got better things to do. So let's go ahead and go back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do an attachment attack. Now here we can go ahead and use template and let's do payroll update. It's going to, and I like to date things. Hey, it's Guy Fawkes Day. We're going to go ahead and add from the address book. Let's go ahead and hit all users. We're going to go ahead and click next. It's already populated most of this, but what we need to do is we need to select the attachment type. Let's make it a doc. Attachment name, we're going to call this payroll update form 2020-11-05. Custom landing page, we're just going to go ahead and skip that. Subject urgent, update your payroll details. Next. Now, because it's a template, it has this nice HTML email looking good. So we can just go ahead and hit next. Do we want? Yes, we want to phish our users. Okay, poor Megan, she's having a heck of a day today. And oh my goodness, got the email from the CEO, that's broken. Let's see. Maybe we fired Megan again. There we go. Recently upgraded our payroll system. We can go here and it will attempt, let's actually open that in a new tab here. This will attempt a credential harvest, but it's also going to see if they opened. You will be contacted shortly by your administrators. By the way, if you do have a user that does click to this, go for education. Don't go for shame. And really, there should be a policy in your company that is shared out that if people think that there is phishing in the organization, they can flag that in Outlook and you can get reports. And it's a great way to do positive reinforcement when you're trying to institute a security culture is to praise rather than punish. So rather than having an all company meeting and calling out everybody who's been phished, they know they've been phished. People know that phishing happens. Call out the people that are reporting phishing scams. Share what some of these phishing scams are so that people become more aware and they learn how to recognize, and it becomes something that actually matters within your organization and it's relevant. So we have done that. Now we're going to go back and take a real quick look at the reports. We got it down here. 0 of 19 users compromised, opened attachment none. That is because those privacy settings negated this. Interesting. Well, I would say don't bother using this one. It looks like the privacy settings are not going to track the open of the files. I have a plot to use Azure Information Protection to create a Dropbox penetration test using a thumb drive and basically a honeypot file that will show who has tried to open it based on their Active Directory login for a file that they shouldn't have access to. and then you're going to be able to track anybody who picks up a thumb drive and actually plugs it into their computer. Conceivable, I haven't done it yet because I do need hardware to kind of play around with that idea. But let's go on to the next attack. And there's a little bit of nuance here. So right now what we're going to do is there are two password attacks here. Now there's a brute force password attack and a password spray attack. Now a brute force attack is where you attack a single account, or it can be multiple accounts, with a dictionary file. But with a good brute force tool, what it's going to do is it's going to mangle the passwords. And that means that a simple all lowercase password will have variants of capital and lowercase. There will be O's replaced by zeros, S's replaced by fives. So it comes back to that XKCD cartoon about correct horse stapler, where a long, simple password that's easily memorable by humans has more entropy, which makes it harder for a brute force attack to work than your usual letter substitution. So people who think that, oh, well, I changed my name to have a 4 instead of an A, these tools will find that. So this does not do the full, actually, let me show you that. This does not do a full iterative mangle attack. So attack details. So this just says that it's going to use a dictionary attack. It talks a little bit about what a brute force attack is and the limitations of this particular tool. For this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it. I've got a simple dictionary file that I've added some things. So let's call this pass attack. Give it the date. How would you like to select your recipients? We're going to go straight for Megan on this one because we knew she's been phished. Let's see what her password looks like. We're going to hit next. Now we can go ahead and we can enter single passwords, or we can use a dictionary. And I just grabbed a real small 500 user or 500 word dictionary file, changed Megan's password and added Megan's new password to it. Now, there are some remarkably large dictionary files out there. If you are going to use one of the 22 gig text files that come from Have I Been Pwned, take it offline. Don't do it from the attack simulator. I tried that about a year and a half ago and broke everything. Office does not like 22 gig text files, but there are text files out there that have every breached password that has been leaked on the dark web for the last 10, 15 years. So that includes the Yahoo breach, the Google breach, the LinkedIn breach. All of these passwords are in this huge dictionary file. So let me show you what a dictionary file looks like. Just, I want to warn you, get the kids out of the room. Dictionary files do sometimes have some inappropriate language in there. I'm not going to scroll down too far, but you can see that this one's real simple in terms of just being repetitions of numbers, some very common ones. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm surprised they don't have 90 on there. That was a default local admin password for a computer at a company I once worked for, because you could run up, drag your finger across the keyboard and get in. Not secure, also not connected to the internet. So there are many ways to do that. You can just go ahead and do a search for password dictionary file. I picked this one because it's small. So let's go ahead and upload. Let's hope I don't have anything goofy in my downloads. All right, next, and that'll be uploaded. Do we want to proceed? We're going to finish. It's going to run. Now, let's go ahead and give this a second to run. Now, a password spray attack is almost the opposite. So let's call this spray. Give it a date. Next. So a password spray attack works by sending a password against all the known accounts in a system. The benefit of this is that it gets around time blocks, where if there are multiple bad login attempts in a row over a certain amount of time, it will block access to that account, and then the attack is meaningless. So let's go ahead and do, actually, let's do all employees. Whoops, there we go. Hit next. We're going to go ahead, and in this one, we're going, because I know what the password is, we're going to try this one and pretend that that's a common password. Yes, we want to test all of our users against that. Now we should be able to come in here, look at the details, 0 users compromised, but it is still running. So it is going to run through that entire dictionary attack. And this may take a minute. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but what it's doing right now is it's trying every single one of those passwords against Megan Bowen's account. Again, the benefit of this versus third-party tools is because it's running from within Microsoft 365. You don't have to turn off your account shutdown policies. It's going behind those and testing the password strength on its own. Looks like it's up. Terminate attack. Let's see. 0 users still running. Okay, well, I'm not going to wait around all day for this. I really just wanted to show off this useful tool. Now, we did do there we go, 11% of user accounts attempted. I misspelled spray. So here we can see the progress. This looks like it's done, but it's still running. Let's zero users compromised. Looks like this one actually, no, it still says running. Reading here, because if they are doing iterative, calculating every possible combination, this is going to take a long time to run. I will come back later on today. We're going to save everybody who's on the live broadcast right now the time. I will come back with the results of this in 3 or 4 hours to see what has happened and if it has managed to iterate into Megan's password. So let's give one more look back here, because we're really only doing one. Okay, 26 user accounts attempted. So again, I will come back later in the day and record what this looks like after it has had time to run these full attacks. But we do have a really good session that we did about a year ago about running Kali Linux in Azure and how to set that up and how to do a pretty solid phishing attack with a fake Facebook page. And we were able to duplicate an existing login page that it looked exactly like the Facebook page with $12 to get a really simple URL with some current tricks in JavaScript in order to do address bar. If the browsers haven't been updated, you can actually use JavaScript on a landing page to change what the URL looks like. So there's a lot that you can do with Kali Linux, but again, because it's not running in Microsoft 365, in a lot of cases to run these kind of attacks, you're going to have to either limit the amount of security that you have for the time that you're running the attack, or you're going to have to be really clever and figure out how to get around your own defenses. So I hope this has been helpful. And again, just wanted to surface this for everybody because I do think it is a fun tool. As a reminder, Agile IT Tech Talks are a service for Agile IT clients. And every Thursday, we have a live group attending that are able to ask questions about the session. At the end of the session, we unmute everybody, we stop recording, and we have an open conversation about how this applies to our users' environments. If you would like to be part of Tech Talks, hey, come sign up with us. We're pretty cool. And if you do have questions, feel free to ask them below in the blog or on YouTube. I'm always happy to answer questions. I got to admit, I haven't answered questions in the last 2 weeks. I'll go check up on that while I wait for the video to process today. But thank you again very much for everybody for joining. Give us a like and follow, and we'll see you next week.